we're here this afternoon with Judge Victor DINUBILE.
Len, always a pleasure. We've known each other for a long time.
We sure have, and go back a number of years. Judge DINUBILE is one of our senior judges, one of our gentlemen senior judges. To start out with, Judge, I'd like to know a little bit more about your background, if you can tell us some of that.
Sure. 1960, I graduated from Penn, then went to Temple Law School in 1963. And then I was on the law review, so I got a job at Obermeyer, Redmond, Maxwell & Hippel, law firm, large law firm. Yeah. Leon J. Obermeyer was my preceptor. And I was there until I got married. That is, I was there from September of '63 until February of '66, and then I left, and I was an associate there. It wasn't the greatest time of my legal career, but it turned around when I went to the DA's office under Arlen Specter. He was recently elected in '65, in the fall of '65, so I was one of his first appointees, and I went there and was there until March of '73. And I tried everything. That's where I really learned to become a lawyer. Yeah. That's where I really got the confidence. Trying all kinds of cases, from magistrate's court to misdemeanors to serious felonies, rapes, robberies, homicides, appellate work, did everything. And it was just marvelous.
That's great.
And then I was also the head of the municipal court unit. But then I decided it was time to go and practice law. So in '73 I went out on my own. I was with John Anderson for a while. He was he later became a city councilman. He's deceased. And then I was on my own for about 8 years until I had a chance to run for judge. And I figured, let me take a chance. Well, I had some political backing. If I lose, it didn't matter because I still had my practice. Right. I was going to upgrade it and join somebody else if I lost, but I won.
Yeah, how about that? Isn't that great? And I'm happy you did.
So then I became a judge, and I won both primaries. So in June of '81, I was appointed by Governor Thornburg for an unexpired, I guess, for a term for 6 months until my original 10-year term. Began in January of '81. Then I ran for retention in '91 and retention again in 2001 and became a senior judge in 2009.
Well, that brings us pretty current, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I fit in somewhere back there before you first ran for judge.
Right. When you were head of the juvenile unit, and I took juvenile appointments, this goes back to the '70s.
Yeah, right.
I'd go to you, I'd get the file. That's where we met.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And I remember you were one of the only attorneys, one of the few attorneys who came and studied in detail every page of those juvenile files.
Well, it helped because your juvenile clients didn't tell you much.
Have you been involved in any cases in any of your positions that might be of particular interest to the public? Is there any?
Well, I've just had such a wide variety of experience in criminal for 6.5 years, then in civil. Tried so many cases.
I know.
Then I don't know. I think not one particular case stands out.
How about do you prefer any particular kind of work? But I have the feeling you're going to tell me no. Is civil or criminal? Or?
I prefer civil, even though I was weaned on the criminal when I was in the DA's office.
Yeah.
I love the civil. It's intellectually challenging and it's interesting. So I've done civil since 1987, I think.
So you've done it for a little while.
A little while.
Yeah.
Then I think the best satisfaction I got there were two things. One, we had this huge civil backlog of 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Then we instituted the Day Forward program. And
I remember this. Yeah.
I must say, Judge Bonaviticola
Mm-hmm.
was very responsible for this. Then he became, that's when he was the administrative judge. Then he became president judge, and John Herron became administrative judge. And they did a wonderful job, and I was one of the team leaders in that.
Okay.
And we cut that
You
backlog.
certainly did. You could cut it back till it was almost non-existent.
And that was, I think that was very professionally
That was a great
rewarding.
accomplishment. And teamwork, too. Yeah.
And then in April of 1996, I was asked to go over to the Complex Lit Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for close to 3 years as
Uh-huh.
a supervisor. That was interesting.
I'll
That was
bet.
where the mass torts and so forth,
Right,
we
you get
handled
thousands
everything.
of cases all rolled into one.
And that was rewarding.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's great. What about the practice of law and how the practice has changed over the years from when you first started until now?
Well, I think when I practiced law, it was done on a much smaller scale. You don't have all these filings. We have e-filing now.
Oh, right.
I remember going over to the prothonotary to get docket entries that you needed to do filings, and they were on these books,
Yeah.
these
Oh, you
huge
copied them
logbooks,
down?
and they really treated you they were rough and tumble, those guys. It was good, it was fun, but it was a lot different than today, believe me. It was tougher going into that docket room than it was going to court.
Some people, a couple of the judges have noted that they thought that the courtroom proceedings were maybe more formal, but definitely more collegial. People were more polite to each other in the past than they were today. Or have you noticed?
I would
anything
think that's true. For example, when I was in the DA's office, I knew all the defenders.
Oh, right.
We'd battle in court, then we'd go out, maybe have a drink together and chat.
Mhm.
It's gotten so large now that that doesn't happen.
Uh-huh.
And in the civil, it's become even more compartmentalized, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Even in the civil, there's criminal lawyers that do motorcycle cases. There's criminal lawyers that do motor vehicle cases.
I see.
There's construction. There's medical malpractice.
Right.
Well, and there are different lawyers for different things.
Oh, I see. Is that what you mean by
Yes.
the size? All right. Everybody's gotten specialized?
Yes, for the
Okay.
most part. But occasionally you see a general practitioner like I used to
Okay.
be, and I sympathize. I sympathize with the lawyer because if they get stuck on a bad case, it really hurts them. Because their stock and trade is their time.
Oh, right. Yeah. All right. Now, I know you have a love for this profession and being a lawyer as well as being a judge. Is there any particular advice that you might be able to give to judges who are just starting out or lawyers?
I would say this as a judge, it's hard. This is not easy, but you have to have patience.
Mm.
Sometimes you want to get mad, but you've got to calm yourself.
Okay.
You've got to be there every day, and you've got to set certain hours and adhere to those hours.
Yeah.
Because if you stroll in late, then the lawyers get sloppy, and if you've got a jury, they get sloppy. You set the stage,
Okay.
and that's important, to be there. You don't have to work 1,000,000 hours a day, but as long as you say, we start at 9:30, we'll take a recess, adjourn for lunch 12:30, 1:45, come back at 2, go to 4. That's enough. You don't have to go real late.
Yeah.
As long as you can, you keep that steady flow, so that consistency.
Mhm.
That's the key to it.
Yeah.
And try to sympathize with lawyers as best you can. Sometimes they get obnoxious, and you've got to lean on them a little, but that's rare.
All right, and I think that goes along with what we were talking about in the conduct of the proceedings and between lawyers and judges, for that matter. Is there can you describe, maybe you have several, is there any particular moment, what are you most proud of having accomplished in your career? I know you're a modest man, so.
No, I can't say one particular case because
Yeah.
I'm not the advocate.
Yeah.
As long as you try to give each side a fair trial,
Uh-huh.
be attentive, and do the best you can if you got to make the decision yourself. And that's the satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's just doing it, being there, where people rely on you to be there, people rely on your decisions. You try to make them as promptly and as reasonably as possible.
Right.
And I think that's
Well,
the satisfaction.
you know-
I can't point to one big case and
No.
say, oh, I did this or did that.
No, I didn't think you'd be able to, knowing you anyway. And I know that you're a hard worker. And it's all pretty much common sense that if you're there and you proceed and you work hard, then you're going to end up being a good judge and doing a good job. It's an important job, certainly. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, I'm happy. The
Yeah.
only thing is, right now I'm in good health,
Yeah.
and I can't believe all this time passed. I mean, we're talking about meeting you in the 70s. It seems like yesterday.
It does, doesn't it?
And now I'm thinking, gee, my career is about 95% over. Where did it go?
Well, I mean, I still see you. One of the reasons you're healthy is because you ride that darn bike everywhere
helps
in the
me.
world. All the time I see you riding by on your bicycle. But I just wanted to thank you very much for participating in today's interview and this project. Your experience is important, and it will probably serve new judges well.
Then thank you. My
Okay,
pleasure.
Thanks again.